Welcome back to Ta-Da 3D Printing. So there has been a lot of talk recently with the Bambu announcement of a new firmware and also a new update to the slicer. And my kind of approach to it was to wait and see. At first I didn't think that it really would affect me at all because I don't really use a lot of third-party things. I don't have third-party screens. I don't have third-party farm software. The only real third-party thing that I use is Filament, and I'm fine with having to key in, what brand it is, or not even key it in at all, as long as it's PLA on my machine and PLA on my computer. I haven't had any issues with that in the past, and I assumed it wouldn't change. So I really didn't think it would affect me much at all. And also, my print farm is not completely Bambu. I do have quite a few printers that are Bambu. X1C is my favorite of the Bambu, but I have other printers as well. So I kind of felt like if it doesn't work out with Bambu, I'll just shift to another brand. So I really just took kind of a wait and see approach with everything, but I did want to continue to get more information. And I got a lot of feedback that people were not happy with this update. Even I did a little poll on my channel, and I think 75% or more said they do not want this update. So I want to delve into it a little bit more and see why people are feeling so strongly about it. And I do understand if you have put money into things that are no longer going to be useful, like the screens or a software program. I completely understand that. And I also understand if you have an entire print farm of nothing but Bambus, that you kind of have all your eggs in one basket. So if things shift with Bambu, then it could put your entire print farm in jeopardy. So I completely understand those feelings. And I really wanted to see, the way that Bambu had approached it was that this was going to be, good for us, that our security would be more, better security features, which I am interested in. I post not only print videos, but, unboxings and setting up printers. So I do like the idea of them not being able to be hacked as easily. So that sounds great. But I would continue to read more of what people were upset about. I also do not use Orca Slicer. I don't really tinker a lot with my printers because to me, the thing I want to spend the time on is designing and tinkering with the print. I'm really interested in the final product, not as much with the machinery to get there. And when I got my first Bambu, the reason I got one, I actually ordered the A1 Mini first and then the X1C as well. I got the X1C first because the A1 Mini was on pre-order. And really I got it because that was the only available color printer that I could get in my hands at that moment, even though I had other ones on order. And that was really the only thing I wanted to try out. Did I even want to do multicolor printing? And quickly, we found that we really liked it. We liked the convenience of being able to send our prints from our computer and being able to monitor things remotely with the cameras are inside the enclosure. There was a lot of features that we felt like were just so nice to have that I continued to buy more X1Cs. And I started to see that me and the two girls that work for me, those were the printers we used the most. Those were the ones we got going first. Those were the ones that, if we're going to run a quick prototype, we're going to use the Bambu X1C. So to me, the convenience of it was what continued to make me want to purchase more. And so I don't really see, in my case, a huge shift from that. I do know when I initially purchased my first one, I did get a lot of feedback even then about, that when you slice things, it goes to the cloud, it goes to another country, and then it comes to your printer. And that there was, some security issues or some people concerned about the ability of Bambu to shut down or you know, even if Bambu went offline, how can you send your prints? So I felt like I already kind of had seen that feedback when I first purchased, and I didn't have any issues with sending it to another country when it was so quick to get back to my printer. I really have not had any issues with Bambu being down when I needed it. And the fact that I can use the little SD card as a backup if my internet's down or if I'm having issues. I like that there are those two options. So I really didn't see a huge shift, or I wasn't really concerned about it. It sounded like the same thing being repeated of issues going to, you know, Bambu. And so I felt like that wasn't something that upset me or concerned me or that I'd had issues with so far. But I did continue to read more and more posts, and I think the main things that could affect me because of the third-party filament, if there does become an issue where somehow they can block other filament, that would be an issue for me, because there's certain kinds of filament that I have found only from third party. And I do use Bambu filament for some things, but overall, I don't really use Bambu filament because either they don't have the exact color I want, or the availability seems to be inconsistent. Usually I order my filament on Amazon and I can get it the next day or 2 days later. Bambu, when I've ordered filament, it's anywhere from the next day to 2 weeks later, or it's out of stock. Sometimes, you know, very consistent colors that I use, black and white, are out of stock, or they shift from the regular PLA to the PLA Tough or the PLA Plus being available. And I don't like to have to shift because my pieces need to be able to fit together and be cohesive all across the board. So I don't like that, but again, I don't know that that's going to be a problem. We will have to see. The other thing that I had read was about updates. And if we do get to the point where we've updated to the newest firmware, and then it will begin to auto update for you, my initial reaction to that is that I don't like that, but my reasoning is a little different. In the past with other slicers, I have spent a lot of time making multiple prints, maybe even spend weeks dialing in a filament, maybe a specific one like a TPU or a wood or a clear, to make it exactly what I need. And I spend a lot of time printing things that don't work, and I finally get it. When I've updated the slicer on other slicers in the past, sometimes I lose that profile or something changes that I no longer have that final fine-tuned beautiful print that I had. And I have to kind of go back and start testing things out again. And I don't like that idea. So that is my main concern with the auto updates, is that I already have this perfectly fine-tuned thing that I've spent time on, and it might not work the same. And a lot of the things that I make with my minis, I make batches, they sell out, I make another batch. So they need to be consistent. I need to be able to remake the same thing again. The other thing with the updates that might be good, on the other hand, for me, because we have 3 people working, we have 3 computers, we have multiple printers, sometimes we do have a disconnect with our slicers. Somebody may have updated theirs and the other person didn't. And so maybe if we're looking for a specific kind of filament, the Bambu TPU that runs in the AMS is one that we were looking for. We couldn't find it. So we updated that slicer for that person that was using it. Well, then we might have a disconnect between the different ones. And I don't really want that. I want all of my firmware, software, I want everything to be the same so that we can produce the same thing depending on who's slicing it. I don't want to have any issues with that. And I want everything to communicate well. I don't want to have some of the issues that I've had with other slicers where it's a little different format and maybe I didn't update that printer, so the the G code, B code, whatever it is, can't read it, but this one can, but this slicer is trying. I just want to be able to print. So that is something that, on the one hand, if it updates and I lose some of the fine tuning, but I'm also consistent, and also I have some of the newer features of newer filaments, maybe newer supports, newer things like that, it might kind of just push me to try those things out. So I'm kind of undecided on whether I like that or not. So with all of those things, I really feel like I'm going to continue to take a wait and see approach. And what that means for me is that I am not jumping into downloading betas and trying to get the newest thing. When I am forced to do it, when it's finally time, I'm okay with doing it. But I'm also going to continue to read and continue to see what other people are doing and continue to see what Bambu might make adjustments to as we get closer. And for me, because I have multiple printers, going the route of taking everything offline, running LAN, it's just not something I'm interested in going back to. I don't see the benefit for me. But really let me know your thoughts, because I feel like that's kind of been the extreme that I've seen a lot of comments of, that people are saying almost kind of like they want to boycott either using the slicer or using the cloud. And I completely understand your comments and your feelings on that. So I'm just kind of explaining where I'm at right now and continue to see how things go. And let me know if you think that I am completely crazy and that I need to be more adamant about Bambu's updates. I really want to hear the reasons of why people are doing one thing or the other, because that helps me, maybe see down the road something that I might be missing. So feel free to let me know what you're doing and what you think. Thanks for watching.